Okay, so in this short video and demo, I'm going to show you how you can enforce security policies globally in Apigee Edge such that every single API proxy that runs will have to run through the shared global security policies. So I'm going to show this using two different users. I'm going to first log in as a security admin, and that credential will be associated with mysteryr@google.com. So you'll see me log into Apigee as this user. And this user will have an organization admin role, which is the highest level of access within Apigee Edge. And as a security admin with the high level of access, I'm going to go ahead and create a shared flow and attach some security policies to that I want to have applied globally. So I'll attach a spike arrest policy and a simple verify API key policy, and with the goal of having those two policies applied to every single API proxy that anyone creates or edits within this instance of Apigee Edge. So I'm going to apply that shared flow to all API proxies, and I'll show you how that works. And then I'm going to then log in as a developer, and that'll be a different user with the email address rajmystery75@gmail.com. And this user has a lower level of permissions. He just has a standard user role. And as this developer, I'm going to edit an API proxy, and I'll also show you how I can't change or edit that shared flow that the security admin created and wants globally applied to all API proxies, which makes sense. I can only view that global protected shared flow, but I can't change or edit it. But I can still add additional policies and rules after that shared flow executes, so I can still build my own API proxy and add whatever rules and logic and flows to that API proxy based on my use cases. So let me go ahead and show you this by way of a short demo. So I'm going to go here. Let me go ahead and first log out of Apigee Edge and start over. So I'm going to log in as the security admin, which was mysteryr@google.com. Let me go ahead and put in my password here. So now I'm logged into Apigee Edge as that security admin with the higher level of access. And I'll quickly show you here in the user view. You can see here I am, mysteryr@google.com, and I have the organization admin role, which is the highest level of access. And after I create my security shared flow and apply it globally, I'm going to log out and log in as this other user, rajmystery75@gmail.com, who's just a normal user and doesn't have the higher level of access. And I'll show you how I can just view what was done by the security admin, but I can't change it. But I can still create my own API proxies and apply different logic and rules to it. But that API proxy will still be subject to the shared flow that I create as the org admin. So again, I'm still logged in as a security admin. So what I'm going to do here is show you that shared flow that I created. So we'll go to the shared flow view here. And I'm just going to create one called SPE Security. I'm just going to assume I'm a security admin for Sony Pictures Entertainment. And I create this shared flow here. Let me give you a look at it. So if you click on the Develop tab, you'll see that this shared flow just has a couple policies attached to it. One is the spike arrest policy, which is used to basically prevent denial of service attacks and to ensure that the traffic isn't coming in at a faster rate than what the backend can handle. And then I have a simple verify API key security policy that checks to see that the incoming request has a valid API key and can therefore proceed to the rest of the flow. So what I'm doing here as a security admin is I'm creating these two policies, and I want to apply them globally to every single API proxy that's created in this instance of Apigee. So in order to do that, what I do is I go in over here to the Environment tab, and I click on Flowhook. And I want to apply this to the test environment. And you can see here on the pre-proxy of every API call, I'm going to apply that SPE Security shared flow. So I already went ahead and added this SPE Security shared flow that comprises those two policies, and I've added it to the pre-proxy flow of every API call. So basically it means that no matter what developer does, they're going to have to flow through this security check with that spike arrest and API key verification. So let me go ahead and log out now, and let me log in as the normal user, more of a just kind of a standard application developer. So that's a different user, which had the email address rajmistry75@gmail.com. So let me put in my password, and I'll log in to that same instance of Apigee. So you can see here I'm in the same instance. And then if I go and I try to add some policies to an API proxy, let's, for example, look at the Sony employee API here. So if we look at the API flow here, I can still go ahead and add, if I want to add a quota or a caching policy or something like that, I can still add that to my API proxy flow here. But you'll see when I run the actual API call, it'll still run through that shared flow that the security admin created. So I'm just going to create an API proxy here and add a simple response cache policy to it. Let's go ahead and let it save. And then when I go to the trace view and run it through the debugger, let me go ahead and start a trace session here. And when I click send, you can see that when the debugger comes up, you'll see that the API proxy still ran through that flow hook that the security admin created, and it ran through the spike arrest policy as I showed you when I was logging in as a security admin, and it still runs through the verify API key flow, which again right now it's going to throw an error because I didn't add an API key to the call. So you can see that it still ran through that shared flow, and I can't, as a developer, I can't edit or change that shared flow. Let me show you that here. So let me go ahead and stop the trace session, and let me go ahead and take a look at the shared flow. So I go over here to environments, flow hooks, you can see in the test environment there's the SPE security shared flow, and I don't have the ability to edit this flow hook. You can see right here it says you do not have permissions because I'm not logged in as an org admin, I'm just a normal user. And if I even go over here and I take a look at the shared flow itself, the SPE security flow, which again was created by the security admin, it'll also tell me here I have insufficient permissions, so I do not have the ability to edit that shared flow or delete it or change it. So that's exactly what we want. We want to have globally defined and applied policies where the rest of the developers can't change it, but they can still create their own API proxy flows that have subsequent policies after the shared security flow runs. So hopefully that was clear. If you have any questions, please go ahead and email me at mysteryr@google.com. And thank you so much for watching this presentation.